I'm Michael Stewart, Business Manager for BUCHI Chromatography in North America.
Hi, I'm Maddie Reckel, and I am the Product Specialist for Chromatography here in North America. And today, Michael has agreed to join me to answer the top 5 questions we get asked about our SFC instruments. I would say before we jump into the SFC instruments, let's do a quick recap on why SFC is great.
So SFC is Supercritical Fluid Chromatography. And in SFC, we use CO2 as a liquid at high temperature and pressure to carry out preparative purifications.
Right. And because we're using this supercritical CO2, it often means that our separations are 2 to 3 times faster than traditional LC methods.
Comparing the cost of traditional LC to SFC, we project about an 85% cost savings for solvent. You also get less solvent exposure in the lab.
Yeah. So, we did a lot of episodes last year going over in detail the SFC technology and even a few applications. If you missed those episodes, we will link them here in the description of this video, but I think we can start jumping into those top questions. So the first question, and I think the most popular question that we get, is what are our fraction collection formats for our SFC instruments?
Yeah, so I'm standing in front of the 8GLS version. GLS is a gas liquid separator. This system is really set up for chiral and high throughput purification. We have 8 individual gas liquid separators that take your sample from the UV detector into a fraction collection vessel. The one thing to know about this instrument is it only has a single sample position. So if you want to inject that single sample in multiple columns and collect it, that's possible. But to change that sample, you actually have to physically remove it from the instrument.
Right. So I'm standing in front of the multi-sample version, and we kind of have a different option for that here. We can put a lot of samples into the auto sampler and run them sequentially. It's also coupled with a fraction collection bed with a capacity of up to 195 fractions. So really good for those complex achiral separations where maybe 8 fractions isn't enough. So the next question that we often get is what detection is available with these systems?
Yeah, our SFC prep systems come with a UV vis detector that operates from 190 to 720 nanometers. You can monitor multiple wavelengths at the same time. Another good option if you're working with lipids or something else that isn't UV active is our ELSD detector. That's a separate ELSD system. It's the SetAir 80LT. It's a great mix of value and performance.
Yeah. And I would say the one additional detector that we can pair with this system is a mass spectrometer, which is really exciting. We utilize the Intershim Advian Mass Spec Compact Mass Spectrometer. It comes in 2 different formats dependent on what size your compounds are. But it's really powerful because we can actually do mass-directed purification on these instruments with the mass spec. So you just plug in the desired mass that you want and collect based on that. It's really powerful when you're getting a lot of, I would say, unfamiliar compounds coming through your lab. It really streamlines the purification process. Next question that we often get is how big are the column ovens on these instruments?
Yeah, and the column ovens are similar in size. This is the 2-column oven system.
And I have the 10-column oven system here. So the benefit of having a 10-column oven is that you can have a lot of columns hooked up, equilibrated, and at temperature, and you can run them sequentially. So no worries about, depressurizing, taking it out, swapping it, letting it come to temperature again. And this is powerful if you're doing method development or method scouting. You can really screen a large number of conditions in a short period of time.
Speeds up that process.
It definitely does. So I would say the next question we often get, and this comes down to user interaction with the instrument, is how easy is our software to learn and to use on a daily basis?
Yeah, and these are really intended for an open access lab. It's a touchscreen interface, very simple to learn and use. Basically, you start with a manual injection, and then we have a process that allows that to easily be converted into a stack injection.
Yeah, and the multi-sample version that I'm standing in front of, the software is actually very similar to the one you're standing in front of. We just have this one additional window here, and that really allows you to queue up those multiple runs with the multiple columns, put that 10-column oven to good use. So very similar, very easy to learn. And then I would say the last question, that we always get is what is the service availability like here in North America?
Yeah, so our North American BUCHI service team fully supports these instruments. That can be anything from a periodic maintenance that we might recommend annually, depending on your usage, to repairs, training, application support across the board. The instrument also has most of the fluidic connections on the front of the instrument, so the end users themselves are able to do minor troubleshooting, fixing leaks, things like that themselves.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then as far as additional training, I am always here in the lab. I try to be. They have given me 2 wonderful SFC instruments to play with every day. So I can perform virtual trainings, virtual demos, and we will even do feasibility studies. So if you're not sure your material is right for SFC, send it to the lab. You can even come spend a few days with us and we'll test it out and see what works. So I think that covers all 5 of the top questions, but if somebody didn't get their question answered today, what would you recommend?
Yep. Best way to get in touch with us is to go to BUCHI.com, start a chat, and we'll connect you with an expert.
Great. Well, thanks for joining me today, Michael. I'm sure we'll be back here soon.
Talks good.